Well, hello, Facebook. This is Kip coming to you on election eve. And this is a follow up video actually to the one that I did a couple of days ago for early voting. So, tomorrow's election day, and I thought it was important to come on to give some very important tips. First of all, a couple of housekeeping points. I am wearing this shirt. King Hank Aaron in honor of Dusty Baker, the manager of the Houston Astros that won the World Series. So, okay. Congratulations to Houston Astros. Couple of very important points. And I thought it was necessary to put this in a video rather than putting it in a post, because I don't know if people take the time to read posts. But what I'm finding is that if you do a video, because I think a lot of people are visual, that they'll actually take the time to look at the video and possibly share the information. And I certainly hope this is the case. Because this is some very important, critical information. So share this widely with your networks. Set a time to vote tomorrow. I'm assuming that this is for those of you who did not vote early. All early voting is over in Georgia and probably most other states. I think there's a couple of states that have same-day voter registration and voting. I certainly wish that was the case in Georgia, but it is not. Set a time to go vote. Most precincts have light to moderate turnout, either late morning, early afternoon. The thought is most of the voters show up like right at 7 o'clock, right when the polls open, and there might be maybe a little line or so to get those voters out, maybe for an hour or two. The other thing is sometimes there may be precincts that may be late opening, and typically there may be a judge that will have to do an order to allow that precinct to remain open for for 30 minutes, an hour. If they were late, when they stop, or I'm sorry, whatever time they open, if they are 30 minutes late, then that's how long the polls will be open at night. So the polls are open from 7 to 7. This is very important, and I don't want to assume that people know this. For whatever reason, if you find yourself having a vote at 7 p.m., if you are in line at 7 p.m., you can vote. Now, what my experience is, there are a lot of poll workers. Some of them may be new, may not be familiar with all of the election rules and procedures, and sometimes they may try to be renegade, not knowing, but you need to know. And if you have any problems at the precinct, the very first thing that you should do is look for the manager. Ask for the manager. The poll manager will typically be someone who is either not a clerk or not they're usually roving throughout the polling place. So I would ask to speak to the manager if you have any problems at the polls. The next most important thing is check the Secretary of State's page, check your My Voter page. to know your status. Know if you are eligible, what your registration status is, and it will populate what precinct that you are assigned to. Now, back during early voting, you could vote anywhere in your county. For election day tomorrow, you must vote at whatever precinct that's in your My Voter page. Period. End of discussion. So if you're under My Voter page, if it says that you vote at John Doe Middle School, that's where you go. If there's any problems at the polls after you have spoken with the manager, please call the 866 Our Vote number. And many of you do a really good job of posting it on social media. I think that's a great idea, but I would please make sure to report any problems that you see at the precincts. Georgia voters, this is all. Please make sure to mark your calendars for 4 weeks from next Tuesday, because depending on what happens in the race for U.S. Senate or governor, we may be doing this all over again. So mark your calendar right now for Tuesday, December 6th. This is, I think it's not the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, but it's the following Tuesday after Thanksgiving. That will be the runoff election. So go ahead and set your calendar for that, so you already know. So you're not caught off guard wondering, well, why is this thing not done? Why am I having to go back to vote? Because in Georgia and no other states, if no candidate in the general election receives 50% plus one, and with the gubernatorial race and the U.S. Senate having a third-party candidate, the likelihood of that happening is very high. So we may have a runoff both with governor and for U.S. Senate. All right. Also, some of you may have received in the mail this mailing from the Center of Voter Information with like a Prior Street address in Atlanta. I don't know who that is. I think it's going to all registered voters. If you know who's involved with that outfit, please tell them that they really need to focus their efforts on people who are not voting, okay? As well as those who may have fallen off the voting rolls, okay? Now, I'm a super voter. I don't miss elections. I don't need any prompts or reminders to vote. I mean, voting for me is natural. It's like breathing. I have, from the time I was registered to vote, when I turned 18, the day I turned 18, I registered to vote. I have never missed an election. Point blank, period. So you don't have to worry about me. Now, I'm sure that if you know, I have received, this is just part of the direct mail pieces I've received. So if you are if you're not a super voter, you would not get direct mail like that. But what I mentioned in my video last week, and this is still the case, you're going to see candidates on your ballot that you may not have received direct mail from. You may not see them on TV. But please, I would urge you to vote a complete ballot. Do not, I repeat, do not vote for governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, attorney general, and then leave. Because I don't know the rest of these people. I haven't heard from them. I don't know anything about them. So I'm going to leave my vote blank. Do not do that. Now, just to give you an example, there is a position on most local ballots in Georgia about a water and soil supervisor. I've never heard of that office at all, period. There should be about 2 seats, 2 candidates on your ballot. You should vote for those candidates. I'm not going to tell you any information about water and soil supervision right now because that's beside the point. But that's at the end of the ballot. You should make sure that you vote for agriculture commissioner, insurance commissioner, commissioner of labor, the 4 constitutional amendments, and then some of you local areas in Georgia have either homestead exemptions or various other things on your ballot. Some of you have school board seats. Please make sure and encourage your friends to not just vote, but to vote a complete ballot from top to bottom. So when you post the peach, don't post it until you know you have voted all the way down from the top, the middle, and the bottom. And many of you are so satisfied, but what we're finding is, and the stats prove it out. There's always, when the election's over and we're crunching the numbers about turnout, we see this huge drop off between governor, lieutenant governor, secretary of state, and then insurance commissioner. And what's happening is that people, when they get to the top, these top races, they're leaving the rest of the offices blank. And the reason they're leaving them blank is because either they haven't heard about them, or they have decided, I'm only voting for these 3. This is what's important to me. And none of the rest of this is important. So I'm going to leave this blank. People, my people, my people, my people. All of these offices on your ballot have an impact on your lives. Let me give you one example. The Commissioner of Agriculture, one of their duties is having oversight. They monitor, I believe, the gas pumps to make sure that they are regulated and they're safe. You will see their designation. Whenever you're pumping gas, you'll see like a state seal. Well, that department is the agriculture commissioner. I believe that's correct. I think that's correct. Yeah. And, Secretary of State obviously does way more than just elections. If you have a corporation or business or LLC and you're registered with the state, you already know you have to do that through the Secretary of State's office. All right? So, Labor Commissioner, we remember the days back 15, 20 years ago when there were unemployment offices, or what we now know as career centers, that were open in most of our counties. That's what that office does. Hopefully, if we make the right choices, we will have career centers that will be fully staffed in all areas throughout the state. Now, I also want to make a very important note, and that is, even though we have a lot of votes here in Metro Atlanta, we've got to be sensitive to these areas outside Metro. And I know that there's one or two pundits that I see on my page that talk all the time about don't ignore the rural vote. If you know me and you know my background, you know that I have worked for and I have supported candidates who were outside Metro Atlanta. I'm not sure how many statewide candidates that we have now on our Democratic ticket that are outside Metro. But that's a conversation that I'm certainly willing to have, Keith McCants, in the space between elections. I'm not a party official anymore. It's not my responsibility. But I think it's a conversation that really needs to take place. I'm very interested in having this conversation. I spend time in Iowa. I'm very sensitive to rural issues. And, you know, we would not have had a agriculture commissioner candidate 4 years ago if it weren't for the efforts of some of us up here. All right? So, but I really appreciate what everybody is doing. And I want to just make sure that you are going through your phone list and hopefully all of your friends, your frenemies, your colleagues, your family members have all voted by now. But there may be somebody that you know in your close social media connections that have not voted. You need to make sure that they have voted. You need to make sure that they know what to do to go vote. You need to make sure that they know that they have the tools. Go to the My Voter page and that type of thing. All right? And we need to make sure, we really, really, really need to make sure that everybody in our circles vote. That's the bottom line. And I may do another video later about specific people, because some of you have texted me and asked me about individual recommendations, and I've done that. But I wanted to do a video about voter outreach, a follow-up video for Election Day, November 8th. Very interesting. I'm going to be posting on my page a very similar video that I did this time 6 years ago, and I'm saying basically the same thing. Folks, do not pay attention to the direct mail. Hopefully you've done your own due diligence. And that's really that's really all I have. I'll probably be following up with another video. What I need for you to do is, if you have not subscribed to my other page, please go to my other page, my Kip Carr public figure page, and like it right now. I know how that viral message talking about I have been hacked. I don't have any other accounts. Well, yes, I do have another account. I have my old campaign account that I am reactivating, and I'm starting to put a little bit more political videos and information like this. But because most of you follow me and rely on my information on my personal page, I'm posting this here. So I'm making another appeal. If you're listening to this video and you follow my post, type Kip Carr in your search box. You'll see a picture of me like speaking. I'm wearing like a brown coat speaking at a microphone, that's me. All right, that's me. And the profile, it has a blue check mark, so it really is me. All right, so I'll definitely be following this up. Maybe not today, but tomorrow. So here's the most important takeaways. If you haven't voted and you need to vote tomorrow, go late morning or early afternoon. That's probably when the activity at your particular polling place will be light to moderate, where you can be in and out. Also, and I didn't emphasize this before, make sure that you have proper identification. If you don't have your ID, your driver's license, or a bill, or something that proves who you are, please don't show up and show out and wondering, well, what happened? The My Voter page of the Secretary of State's on the Secretary of State's website will tell you what you need to have. If you have a passport, and many of you already do, that works. But take your driver's license or some form of ID with you to your polling place. All right, so that's all for now. And I wish you nothing but the best. Tomorrow is going to be abnormally warm for Atlanta. No rain at all. I think it's supposed to be 80 degrees. Absolutely no excuses. No excuses at all. We're not even doing that. So if you haven't voted early, and I think 40%, what I'm hearing, 40% of our total vote has already voted early, don't feel bad that you haven't voted already. Election day is tomorrow. Go ahead and get it done. Too many people have been killed, lynched, shot, jailed, just for the right to vote. And we see right now that people are trying to take the vote away from us here in 2022. So that's why the right to vote is so critically important right now. And we always say, I'm sure people are getting tired of hearing, this is the most important election in our lifetime, because it is. 2020 was a very important election in our lifetime. It was. We're never going to have a period where we don't have important elections. So let's get that straight. This is a very important election. You can raise sand when you vote. You are deciding what type of future we will have in this country. Choice is yours. So, hope you have a great day. This has been great. I went a little long because I just needed to underscore how important tomorrow is, as well as making sure that you have the tools that you need to cast an informed vote. Also, please be sure to mark your calendar for Tuesday, December 6th. I hope we don't have to come back for a runoff election. I hope it's all done. And then the candidates of our choice will win outright, as they will in other states. And I really, really hope, and I'm saying this to my Georgia legislator friends in the not too distant future, that this idea of a runoff that we can see in our rearview mirror, that will not be a part of our reality. All right. Off my soapbox. Have a great day, and peace and power.